and good evening. First time doing a live stream, fully expecting to talk to myself for the next however many minutes. So I've come fully prepared with a little list of things to talk about. And the first one I'm going to talk about is something that good that happened. It didn't start from something good, but it ended up as something good. And that was last night. A little bit of faith in humanity was restored, in that one of my friends had put on their social media that they'd had basically all of their tools stolen from their truck whilst they were out walking their dog. And this guy, I used to serve with him in the RAF in the police, and he has had his battles with PTSD since leaving, and also with cancer. So lots of bad things have happened to him, and this was just another one of those things. So you all know that um, my opinion of people and humankind can be quite low at times because of some of the stuff that I've dealt with. So I thought, you know, I wanted to give him, chuck 50 quid just to say, you know, here's something towards helping you get back on your feet with it and get back to business. Because for the last year, because of COVID, as with lots of people, he hasn't been able to work. So this was his main way of making money and providing for his family. So I thought I'd do a little GoFundMe for him, and within within 3 hours there was already over £900 raised for him. And then by this morning, when I got up, it was 1,400 £1,400. So in one night, we managed to get money for him to be able to get new tools and be back on his feet again. But it did restore my faith in humanity a little bit. Not not fully restored it, but it shows that there are good people out there, and it's nice to know that there's good people out there who'll help out other individuals in times of need or crisis. So yeah, today was a good day, a busy day, because work was as always busy, but it was a good day. So on to the subject of what the main subject of the channel is obviously about is the child safety side of things and being online. And one of the reasons why it's important that that the sphere of influence of this channel, for instance, is as it grows, it means that more people are exposed to the good advice, well, hopefully good advice. More people will talk about it. The conversation, becomes more widespread, and people will start to take note of the dangers that are on the internet, and the fact that they're at the minute their children might be running around on the internet unwatched and unsupervised. So it's obviously an important conversation that a lot more people need to be involved in, and that's one of the things why I bang on about sharing and subscribing and stuff is purely for reach, to try and reach as many parents as possible and just get the information out there for them, because information is very much the key when it comes to technology and the internet and all the new apps and stuff that appear, because that's the other thing. You can't, on a channel like this, I can't do a video on every app that's out there or every social media platform that's out there, because let's be honest, a new one springs up every other minute at the minute, and it's impossible to be able to cover all of them. But obviously I'm happy to do things for people if they ask, and I'll pull content together and do the research. But the main thing I think is always to revert back to the one thing that I always say is the communication piece, and that's probably the most important part. And I'm not here to give parenting advice or any of that, because it's not my place to do that for a start. And the fact that I'm a parent to a Leffy dog means that my experience isn't the same as you as parents. So I just point out the fact that if you are open with your child and you talk to them about the dangers and why you have they're in best interest at heart, they're more likely to speak to you about the issues that they come across on there. Whereas if you don't have that conversation, they're just going to think you're spying on them, that you don't trust them, that you just want to know what they're up to because you're being nosy, and that's clearly not the reason why most people. There's probably a few out there. I'm pretty sure my mum would have been one of those people who just followed me to find out what I was up to, because I probably deserved that because I was a little bit of a handful growing up. But I've seen it from that side, so I know that how easy it would be to be doing stuff online that they wouldn't know about. So as kids these days especially are way more intelligent than we are when it comes to how to do things, how to do things online, how to, the newest apps and anything technological like that they've grown up with, so they know all the best ways to get away with things. And I certainly remember as a kid I was always trying to get away with things, so it probably hasn't changed that much. So that's where the building the trust and relationship, I think, is quite important, because it's no different from, like I've said before, about stranger danger is still a thing, but there's also now stranger danger online, and the stranger danger online is more difficult to combat and detect unless you are spending the time to have that chat with your kid and find out who they're talking to, and making sure it is actually their friend Jimmy or Donald from down the road, and not someone pretending to be the same age as them to trap them into something. Because there's many stories out there of what happens when that does occur, and it never ends badly. So you don't want to find yourself in that position when all you had to do was have a chat to them and say, the internet is good. It's very good for many reasons, but it also has its bad side. And strangers are still strangers online, and not to talk to them. And if someone asks you to keep something secret, or if they say not to tell anyone, there's obviously a reason for that, right? So yeah, talk to them, and they will hopefully come to you when something's not right, and then you can ask me why, and I'll help you to stop it from happening again. The other area I touched on recently was to do with gaming, because I think everyone uses the PS5, the PS4, and the Xbox as a way of distracting their kid and keeping them quiet. It's just moving on from the tablet, basically. Here, take the tablet, go off in there and be quiet. And you don't think of that as being an area where I suppose you have to keep an eye on them, but it's no different from other platforms which have a chat facility. These have voice chat facilities, obviously, so people, they're shouting and screaming at the TV and shouting out commands to other people, who are maybe other side of the world, and they have great fun there. And I often hear one of my neighbours from across the road, his kid plays a lot of Call of Duty, I think, and he gets shot a lot, I think, as well, judging by some of the shouting that comes out of his window. But there's actually a foundation which Brett, try and remember the name of it now, and it tells the story of a kid who basically was on online gaming, and it didn't end as well as it should have done. So I'm going to try and find that now because it's on my YouTube page. So you didn't think that would be easy. So you'll have to excuse the really uncomfortable silence. And if you ask anyone who I work with, they'll tell you that I really hate silences, which makes meetings really interesting, because I feel the need to fill the silence like I am now. Really good. No, I can't find it. Let's do this. There we go. And I can't share screens while I'm on YouTube because I've not got it set up to an encoder, because it had a massive lag on it of about 10 seconds, which would have really not been very good for me to try and catch up 10 seconds and see myself saying something 10 seconds ago. Would have freaked me out too much. So I've decided not to use the encoder until I can get it working properly. No, I can't find it. I'll put it in comments afterwards. I think there was a couple of things I wanted to talk about on that front, though, is that it's very, very easy, I think, to get addicted to gaming. And it's no different from any other addiction, especially, I think, when it comes to kids. Obviously, it is different from other addictions. But yeah, when it comes to kids, you know, who are going through the years of schooling when I suppose they're supposed to be, as I wish I had when I was at school, concentrating on learning and socializing and, you know, making those relationships and learning how to socialize with people. And you put them in front of a game and then they get addicted to it and spend all of their time doing that. They're not doing their homework. They're not, you know, chatting to their friends. They're not doing the normal, natural stuff that you would want them to be doing. It's one of those slippery slopes, I think. And I know that my sister actually, she with Charlie, she has noticed that, or did notice that in the past, and she's rationed him now, so he only gets his tablet at certain times, and she's taken my advice. He doesn't get to take any of his tablet or anything up to bed with him, or you know, out of sight. So it's good to have those limits and those boundaries, and there are technological solutions for that as well. So a lot of the internet service providers now will let you do a thing where you can put time limits on your router, or the software that they provide with it, or some of them even have apps where you can go in and control it. It depends on who you're with. But a quick Google search will help you to find that if you don't already know it. But yeah, you can go in and do things like you can put the kids on a separate channel effectively. You can create a Wi-Fi channel for them, and then you put it's active only between certain times. And obviously that works for things like tablets and laptops and stuff. But if they've got a phone, then you've got to keep in mind that the mobile data won't adhere to those restrictions. And it's worthy of note that that's something to remember if you do want to go down the road of giving them sort of ration times when they can use it. Just remember that phones won't do what your router tell them to. But yeah, gaming addiction is actually now being classified as a mental disorder, which lucky it wasn't around back in my day, because I used to love sitting in front of the Sega Mega Drive, as I had in my first console was the Sega Mega Drive. So I wish I'd kept that, because it's probably worth a few pound now. But I soon moved on to computers and then ended up where I am today. So that was thanks to mum and dad. But I think that was more to stop me from taking things apart to find out how they worked and then putting them back together. And sometimes they actually worked again. But that was how I got my love of computing was through that. So I suppose it's a double-edged sword. but it's about just recognizing when it's going too far, I suppose. And that's probably something that can happen with gaming. But the other thing is that kids will play games with their friends from school, or they'll play with people that they know from school, or friends of friends, and it's just another area where bullying can start to occur, and you don't necessarily see it because it's not right in front of you. So the words on the screen or the voices through the headphones, you may not read those or see them. So it's bullying that's occurring, and it could be occurring right in your room beside you, and you wouldn't know about it. In the same way that the other darker side of it is that there could be exploitation going on, and again, you wouldn't know about it. And the thing is that it happens more than not, because it's so difficult to see or know. That's why they use it to target people, and it's one of those things that you just have to know about to I suppose keep an eye on it. But things like the gaming and the addiction to it, the time limits comes into it, and encouraging them to take breaks in the same way at work. We're not allowed to. Well, I say we're not allowed to. We shouldn't be sitting in front of the screen all day without taking your VDU breaks. My problem is that I tend to take a VDU break and look at another screen. Colin keeps telling me off for that, but it's no different from them. That they should take time away from it and go off and do other things. And back when I was younger, we didn't have all this technology and things in your hand, so I had to actually go outside and be back when the lights came on was always what I was told, and I've since found out a lot of people were told that. The other thing is you should be aware of age limits on the games. They're there for a reason. Some games are like 17 plus, 18 plus. Others are, in the same way that videos have got parental guidance restrictions. So you should know what the game's about. Maybe, play it before them, or do some Googling on it and find out what people are saying about it before you let them on there to start shouting at the world because they keep getting shot and killed. And I think as the extra step there is, if you do think it's gone past a certain point, speak to your doctor, the local GP, get advice from them, and because they deal with it probably quite a lot and see it quite a lot. So it's always worth speaking to the experts. But the biggest danger is one that I touched on there, and I've touched on before, is their interaction with strangers, and can be interacting with strangers, and that's no different from in the real world. We don't want them doing that, right? So people in the gaming world, it's very much a social network in the likes of like Call of Duty, which I mentioned. It's got a community around it that is quite extensive. There's a lot of people who play the game, and there's a lot of people who have it as a shared interest. So they've built this social media community around it where kids, and rightly as they should be able to, kids can get together and chat about it and chat about the game and set up for events and stuff that they want to do. But it is not without its dangers, because there's people on there that will use fake identities basically to get ingratiated with other kids who are playing it. There's no system in place on there that means someone has to prove their identity. So you can very much be whoever you want to be on these sort of things, and very rarely are people who they say they are online. I don't generally trust anyone online. I sometimes wish that my relatives would understand that when it comes to the Nigerian prince who's trying to get $400 million out of Nigeria into the UK, and he just needs their help to do it, and there's only a small admin fee that's required for them to do that. So yeah, it's very rare that people online, unless you know them personally and you've set that connection up with them in personal terms, I suppose it's a lot rarer. It's not very rare. It's a lot rarer that you will know who that is until you meet them in the flesh or have met them in the flesh. And that's not something we want kids doing, is starting relationships with people online and then deciding that they want to go and meet these people because they make them laugh, or they've got all the same hobbies, or they say the same sort of things in common, because a predator online will tell them whatever they want to hear to make them their best friend. And then next thing you know, they're arranging to meet, and you know nothing about it. And this is all happening because they're playing a game. So very, very important to keep in mind and have the conversation again, back to conversations, have a conversation with them so that they are asking these questions when they're talking to people, and they know, don't give out their personal details, don't give out their phone numbers, don't send pictures to them, don't arrange to meet up. These are all things that they should naturally, instinctively know. Very wrong to do. Don't take sweets from strangers. Everyone knows that one, right? Everyone who's grown up with parents who are half decent know that one. So it should be the same for online. The kids should know, don't do these things. Don't give out personal details. It should just be there and common sense. But I found out many times that common sense is something that not everyone has, unfortunately. I've also heard many stories and seen many things that are the direct result of the fact that parents don't give a shit about their kids. And because of that, other people take advantage and will always take advantage of that, because if parents don't care about their kids, then they're going to go to anyone and everyone else and take their advice on things and take what they say as gospel. I was always very lucky that I grew up with two amazing parents. One of whom obviously is no longer with us, but looks down on me from up on the wall. And they instilled in me, even though I was a little shit growing up, without them, I would have turned into a very different person, I think. Without their morals that they put in me, and the lessons that they taught me, and the discipline that they gave me, I would be a very different person these days, and I know that for sure, because I see it. I see people going down those roads, and I hear stories of kids getting brought to their parents, and yeah, what do you want me to do about it? And it's not my problem. Unfortunately, in some countries you need a license to own a dog, but anyone can have kids. So that's just a problem, I suppose, we have in society that needs to be dealt with. But if you're watching this video, as it will be afterwards, then you clearly already have an interest in trying to help make sure your child's protected. So you clearly have an interest in them growing up in a safe way and in a good way, and being the best that they can be. So that's always a good start. Some of the other areas that I've touched on before but not done in depth on, and I'll just talk about them in general, and they are on my plan for doing something more in depth at some point. My sister will know that this is a particular pet hate of mine, is good old TikTok. Now, TikTok, I know, is probably one of the more popular social media apps that has come out in recent times, but I really don't like TikTok, and it's not because it's from China and there's there's very little privacy behind it or anything like that, but it's because there's very little done in regards to protecting the community who use it, which is by nature the majority is kids, teenagers. Sorry, I'm just trying to multitask, and that's definitely another thing that I can't do. And that is purely because I'm a man. But luckily, I have lots of really smart people who work with me who keep me out of trouble because they do things for me. And then I generally probably get sympathy because I still got a job, which is nice. Oh, hold on. So there's been some development since the last time I looked at TikTok. So maybe it isn't as bad. Well, I'm not going to tell my sister that, but she's probably going to watch this, so she probably knows now. So bugger. That'll be her back on TikTok in no time, no doubt. There's actually, so it's minimum age is 13 for TikTok, which is probably standard for a lot of the social media apps and stuff. But there's a new thing here called family pairing, family safety mode. And apparently it links the parent's TikTok account to their teens, and once enabled, they'll be able to control digital well-being features, including screen time management, direct messages, and restricted mode. It's coming in the next few weeks. So TikTok's still on my shit list at the minute then. And for my sister's benefit, Charlie's nowhere near 13, so stay off it. I think these features are well long overdue for TikTok, because it's one of those social media platforms that's all about favoritism and stardom, and and you can be really famous if you use it. So kids are obviously drawn to it, but security wise, still an issue with me. Discord was one of the other ones I mentioned recently, which is actually been around for years, because I used to use it for gaming, online gaming that I did when I was in my younger years. And as with every other one that I've mentioned, it is a voice chat platform and a text chat platform, and it is mainly used in the gaming community. So it's one to be aware of if you see it, just to be able to have the chat to find out what they're using it for and who they're on there with. Minecraft, very similar to Roblox, which I did the video on. It has got features on there for being able to make it safer. I've done the Roblox. I'll probably do the Minecraft one soon, but I would say that they're probably quite similar in the way that you can make it safe for kids. And again, it'll depend on what age your kid is, how much restriction you want to put in place. So look out for that one coming at some point. I suppose the one of the last areas that I wanted to chat about was what COVID-19 has done with regards to mental health, not just for adults, but for kids as well. And I think everyone over the last year has had now a taste now of what mental illness and mental issues is all about, because I'm pretty sure everyone has found themselves at one point or another very anxious, not knowing what's going to happen, or feeling like they're imprisoned because they can't get out and about. And it's that sort of thing that people will hopefully remember, but not in a bad way. I don't want people to suffer and carry on suffering, but I want them to remember that that's something that does happen to people. They find themselves in that every day, whether we're in COVID lockdown or not. And I suppose it's no different for kids, because at the minute they're not able to go out and socialize with their friends, in the way that they were before. They can't just go and meet up, and what they seemingly do around here is sitting around in play parks and on basketball courts and chat lots, is what they do around here. But they can't do that in a minute. So they're obviously turning to the internet. They're turning to their phones. They're turning to social media and all of these other areas to try and get around that, which is great. It's great that technology allows that ability for them to carry on socializing and not going completely mental. But it is worrisome when I hear stories of kids who've been let loose on Omegle, or chat roulette, to have these sessions with their friends, and the parents the reason I found out about it is because some parents actually came to me and asked me about it, and I was like, well, no, there's other ways of them doing things like WhatsApp groups. If they want to have a group chat and group video session with each other, then do it on WhatsApp. So it's end to end encrypted, and exactly who's on the other end, and who's in the group. So things like that are just, for me, common sense. But obviously, I know that there's plenty of people out there that don't have that knowledge. So yeah, just because your kid says it's okay, her friend or their friend is on there, doesn't mean it's okay. It means that their friend also has parents who don't know what's going on, and what Omegle and stuff are used for. And I've done done a video on Omegle, so if you need more information on that one, just have a look for that one. But it's nothing more than a gratuitous porn site as far as I'm concerned. And its use as a normal social media platform or a normal communication means is not what I would class it as. So yeah, just because your kid says something is okay doesn't mean it is, because I'm sure you wouldn't take their word for a lot of things. So don't take their word for that. But yeah, they do need to carry on socializing, and there's plenty of ways for them to do it, which aren't, as dangerous. I never say anything is foolproof, because it's not. WhatsApp is obviously only as good as the people you add to it, to your contacts. If you're giving out your phone number to everyone, or your kid's giving out their phone number to everyone, then they're going to have the same people and danger on WhatsApp as they will on any other of the platforms I've mentioned. So I will bang on about it, but it is coming back to that communication piece, that they need to know who to give their information to and who not to, and to start questioning the people they are talking to, or not questioning them, but just questioning what they're being told. Don't go making best friends with someone who you've never actually met. If we're talking friends from school that or friends from college that then happy days. You've met them, you know who they are, and you're talking to them when you're talking online to them. So just be a little bit more suspicious about things, and as parents, be a lot more suspicious about things, because generally most people's knowledge of the internet and what's going on there is sadly lacking in this day and age. And until more people are talking about it, there's not really a great deal that's going to change on that front. It's not going to stop these apps from popping up. They're going to pop up 10 a penny every day, and they're going to continue to thrive whilst I think we move forward into more technological times. People actually, it cracks me up. There's in Sweden, I think it was, when you come to a zebra crossing with traffic lights on it, you not only have the lights up on the traffic light saying whether you can go or not, they actually have them in the ground now as well. They have lights along the curb, so when you're walking along just in your phone, you won't get yourself killed. It's nice that they're taking care of the newer generations in that way. So hopefully there'll be less of those sort of incidents, because they spend their whole time in their phone. But that's for another day. I think I've banged on for long enough, and there was no questions. Although there is one viewer on there, I think that's probably going to be Colleen. But I've really enjoyed chatting rubbish for the last half hour, and I'm going to call that a night, and we'll see if we do another one in the future. But catch you all next time.